once again, the French seaport of Marseilles provides the starting point for the 20th Critérium de la Montagne. In other words, the Alpine Rally, this year's French event in the European Rally Championship. Small craft of every sort ride at anchor, their paintwork gleaming in the noonday sun, whose proverbial heat defeats all but mad dogs and Englishmen. And there are plenty of the latter, for 32 of the 59 entries are British. Ronnie Adams and Kenneth Best, for example. They share the wheel of a work-centered Sunbeam Rapier. And the thought of the 70 mountain passes included in the 2,400 miles before them makes them warmer still. And here's another Rapier, one of the 4 entered by the factory. Les Leston has a similar car, with his own modifications. And everyone is busy preparing for the stern challenge that lies ahead, and the first test of all in any race or rally, scrutineering. For the organizers must be sure that every entry conforms to the standard regulations. Starting day arrives. Les Leston and Peter Jopp look happy enough as they walk past the ranks of cars from almost every European country to their Rapier number 64. The atmosphere is one of excitement and interest, as only the French or Italians can show it. Then off to the starting ramp where the cars leave at intervals of 1 minute. Watches are synchronized. The next car up, a Rapier, and away they go. Great driver Ivor Buick with navigator Pat Ozanne in Rapier 61. Then it's the turn of 64, Peter Jopp and Leston. Off they go with the best of British luck, in French. Next away are private owners Proctor and Gregory in their Sunbeam Rapier. One by one they leave to swell the Marseilles traffic along the coastal road for a while before turning away from the sea inland towards the mountains. This year's Alpine entry is divided into 2 categories, touring and grand touring, although touring is hardly the word to describe the headlong course, as 59 mobile mountaineers tackle the first day's stage, the 1,240-kilometer drive to Cortina. Rally driving is motoring to a schedule, but an almost impossible schedule, and from the first control at Aubagne, time is of the essence. Up and down narrow winding tracks, then up again through the foothills of the Alps, the Rapier team set out to save those precious seconds against the hazards of the Alpine. Hazards like this, for instance, but nothing compared with what lies ahead. The Allo, a timed climb for bonus points that will decide the general classification. 16 kilometers of it, twisting and turning ever upwards. Better luck next time. Darkness brings no let up, and the headlights of the Rapier team stab through the shades of night as they head for the High Alps and Italy, taking in a 3-lap race against the clock round the famous Monza circuit. Monza behind, and ahead the tortuous mountains of the Dolomites. But first, a timed climb of the notorious Vivione Pass. All around, impressive scenery, although there's no time to see further than the next bend. But no less impressive is the passage of the rapier as it storms the heights with almost insolent ease. The surface could be better. The road could be wider, but the rapier takes it surely in its stride. The loose and treacherous surface of the narrow twisting road with a precipice on one side and a hard unyielding rock face on the other makes the Vivione quite an exercise. But rapier teammates Scott and Hopkirk blaze a trail for others as their car winds its willing way to the summit. The descent is no less dicey. Tight hairpin bends, some too tight, and the swirling alpine mist add their own particular hazards. But nothing seems to bother the girls as Pat Moss emerges from the mist and disappears again. Don't look round now, girls, but you're being followed. Through at last and on better roads before they reach the mountain passes that will take the weary crew into Cortina after nearly 24 hours of mountain driving. Already the Alpine is taking its toll. Stage 1 saw 6 cars retired and only 43 remain unpenalized. But all the rapiers are through and live to fight another day as journey's end is reached in pouring rain. Another day indeed. And in the early hours of Thursday, Cortina is left behind on the second stage as men and machines head for Austria over mountainous and muddy tracks, past tree-fringed lakes to the Turacher Höhe, a car-braking section last used in the Alpine back in 1934. Today, 25 years later, the hill is little changed. The surface of earth and gravel is held in place by wooden gutters across the road, forming ridges over which cars leap at incredible speed. In bottom gear throughout the climb with its gradient of 1 in 3, it's a horror section from which the rapiers emerged unscathed. These are the roads and passes over which the Roots Group cars are tested long before production. The rapier is rally bred to cope with every sort of road. For some, the checkered flag. For others, a checkered career. Either way, it spells the finish of a real heart and body breaking section. The Turacher Höhe behind, the route leads on through delightful villages nestling amongst the green slopes and the blue hills of Austria, via Innsbruck and up the passes of the Brenner and Monte Giorgio, which runs down to Merano to the finish of stage 2. Proctor and Gregory check in, and drivers of the Rapier team, tired but cheerful, go after some well-earned rest, the screech of tires, the relentless throb of engines still ringing in their ears. In the evening light, the cars stand silent in their serried ranks. Now only 39 are left, and yet less than half of these have lost no marks. From Merano, the third stage leads back through Italy over the Stelvio Pass and back again to the Vivione, where all the Grand Touring cars lose their coupes. A Frenchman moves up and over to the control point at Bergamo. No mere formalities here, and they're off again. The outer strata, and a chance to make up time a little. Only to lose it elsewhere. Well, don't just stand there, do something. Then on the way again, a race against the clock, for the average must be maintained. The clock takes no heed of hold-ups. Unlike the Swiss control, where crews check in at the foot of the St. Bernard Pass. Beneath a cloudy sky, the cars race upwards to the peak. Followed by the Rapiers, still free of penalty and leading their class. A brave show. But a two-wheeled trio against a rally route is even braver still. Once more the mist clamps down as Slotemacher and De Vries take their triumph to the top. Past another hard luck story, Ronnie Adams leads the Rapier team over the hills and far away. Behind him, persistent teammates in hot pursuit. Then Rapier 62, Hopkirk and Scott lead Rapier 64, Jopp and Weston against the majestic background of the Alpine scene to the top of the St. Bernard. There's a decided nip in the mountain air, but it's purely medicinal, of course. The third stage is nearly over, and downwards into the valley goes one of the French competitors, past ledges packed with snow over the precipitous Alpine route. Downwards into the valleys, the now sadly depleted entry drives on towards Saint-Gervais-les-Bains, end of the third stage in the Alpine Rally of 1959. There are signs of civilization. Roads are smoother and wider in places. And at last they're there. They made it, just. But some made it more just than others. But the worst is still to come. The fourth and final stage of the Alpine is as long as it's difficult. It's 1,296 kilometers long, with 4 special tests. Over these mountain passes, no less than 70 in 2,400 miles of the Alpine route, the dwindling entries pit their prowess against the remote and silent mountains in a test as tough as man can devise. Nor is it a mere coincidence that British successes in international rallies are reflected in the increased demand for our cars throughout the world. Time for a shave and breakfast after the night section. After all, even rally drivers have to eat. Whilst officials check their times. And talking of time, it's time we're off, says Leston to his co-driver Job. It's still 600 kilometers to the finishing point at Cannes. Another competitor is flagged away. Through the villages of the Basse Alpes, basking in the sunshine, streams the cavalcade, or what's left of them, as the Alpine enters its final phase. The rapiers are still there. As also are the Harrisons, father and son. Still in close company, Hopkirk and Scott lead their teammates over the white and dusty roads of France. Behind them, another competitor looks slightly the worse for wear. And Jerry Burgess joins that most exclusive club. You have to be hit by a lorry to qualify for membership. There's the usual activity at the control point, La Gabelle. One man checks in. Gatso checks under. Burgess checks out. Still, the rapiers run together. They race towards the final section. At first, there's a luncheon party with Shell. A nice thought to refuel the drivers as well as the cars. And then onward to Cannes. But first, a timed climb up Mont Ventoux, a truly Alpine challenge, as tired and dusty crews urge their equally tired and dusty cars back towards the sea. The last lap is on, so let's not overdo it now, says Jack Hay to Tommy Whistler. Do you mind? There's many a slip twixt a coupe and the lip, but Peter Jopp and Les Leston are nearly home to gain 6th place overall, as well as that coveted Coupe des Alpes. Whilst Perry Hopkirk and Dennis Scott drive on to finish 3rd. Their Rapier, the highest placed British car. What was it like? It was tough. 5 days and 2 nights Alpine motoring in France, Italy, Austria and Switzerland. 70 mountain passes in 2,400 miles at an average speed of 60 kilometers an hour, with no allowance for breakdowns, punctures, refueling or other hazards on the route. Such is the Alpine, a classic rally designed to test man and his machine to breaking point in the ceaseless search for better, safer motorcars. Was it worth it? The Roots team think it was. Highest placed British car. 3rd and 6th in final classifications. 1, 2, 3 in their class. And 2 Coupe des Alpes to add to the 10 already won by Roots in previous years, as well as a Gold Cup for winning 3 successive Coupe des Alpes.